Good morning and welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be going over the 5 best vendor gold farms that you can do right now. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Now coming in at number 1 we have the Stormspire. This one is located within Netherstorm in Outland. Now what you're going to be wanting to do is by actually taking the flight path all the way over to the Stormspire. Basically, there are multiple different vendors over there which can actually sell a wide variety of different things. The one in particular you're actually wanting to be able to get a hold of is the Battle Pet one. That is because he sells a load of unique battle pets which can only be got through him for a small amount of gold. Literally a small amount, like you could take like 10 gold and you could get all of them. What you're going to be wanting to do is by buying those up and then caging them, then selling those on the auction house. These can actually be resold for a few hundred gold a piece and can very well make a decent amount of gold overall. Another thing of note that you may want to be able to consider as well is by going over to the vendor who is in the Stormspire as well, who is a little bit just aside from the actual battle pet guy, and that he actually sells the enchant of the Executioner. Now this used to be a staple enchant back in the day, and basically you can get it through him. All you have to do is just buy it for a couple of gold and then post that on the auction house. People actually still do tend to buy that because they don't want to make the trip out to Netherstorm in order to do that. They might as well just pay a couple of hundred gold just for that recipe. Now overall, how much effort does this actually take? Very little. It takes next to no effort to actually do. All you have to do is take a flight path and then just buy all your stuff. It's really that dead simple. That is basically the premise of vendor gold farms. Now what you're going to be wanting to do right there is buy a couple of different types of transmog items as well from that exact same vendor who sells the enchant. Those ones are like the phantom blades. You can actually sell those on. They actually tend to sell relatively fast in the grand scheme of transmog, and you can only buy those for a couple of gold each, which actually is a good return overall for just selling transmog. Now bear in mind these are limited quantity items, so you may just buy out all of them and then just wait if you really wanted to, but I tend to just buy a few and then just sell those on the auction house. Overall, it's actually been working quite well for me throughout the multiple years of me actually playing, and has tended to be quite good. Now overall, that is the Stormspire at number 1. And at number 2 is something that you guys may want to remember from WoD. Now if your reputation actually has got you to at least revered, you can actually jump all the way over to Stormshield. Now, what are you saying, Dalla? We can all go to Stormshield. Yes, but you have to go to the actual rep vendors inside there and be able to buy a certain specific thing, which is the battle pets. These are the reputation locked battle pets at revered. These ones can actually be bought for a few Apexus crystals and a decent sized chunk of gold. This one is actually going to take a little bit of an investment. What you'll be wanting to do is by buying out at least like 3 of these battle pets, caging them and then just selling those on the auction house. They tend to sell for a few thousand gold, even though they actually cost you about 850 gold each, and is a decent return on your investment overall, because not many people want to actually exchange their Apexus crystals and all that stuff. They usually just tend to forget about all of this stuff and they don't want to just make the trip out there. That is basically what you're doing. You're basically doing the job for them and then charging a premium for that thing that they were going to go for. So that is something else that you can also do. This can be for the Steamweevil Cartel. You can use this for the Arakoan Outcasts, and you can also use this for all of the other reputations as well as that. Another one that you may want to bear in mind is in the trading post. If you have it at level 3, you actually have a reputation vendor who is a Draenei that actually sells another battle pet within there. So in your garrison you can always buy that and then sell those. Now aside from that, the WoD pets are pretty damn easy to get a hold of. All you have to do is make sure that you did the reputation grind, and I know a lot of people actually did, because there wasn't an awful lot to do within WoD. Now that being the case, let's move into number 3. Now coming in at number 3 we have the Lower City, which is in Shathra City. Now all of the vendors located in this section of the map right now all you have to do is basically just speak to every single vendor. It's really that dead simple. All you're doing is buying up recipes and limited stock items. These can be like the fell iron bolts, which actually sell relatively fast, and you can buy them for really, really cheap. The other things of note is all of the recipes that you actually can get along with this. Do not get yourself confused with the tailoring ones, as they are soul bound. Well, some of them are soul bound, some of them are not, so double check before you actually buy them, because you'll just be wasting your gold. The other thing of note is all of the other vendors that actually sell the recipes, definitely well worth it, and once you've actually bought all those recipes, you just shove them on the auction house and you sell them for the premium that you're actually selling them for. This one's a really easy one to do, and yes, there does tend to be a few more people that actually do this way because it's so easy to actually do. Like if you're in Shathra anytime soon and you're going over to any of the raids like the Eye to farm Ashes of Allah. Now, aside from all of this, very easy to do, and you can just do it when you're out and about doing random farming. Now, that being the case, let's move into number 4, which is Booty Bay. Now, Booty Bay doesn't tend to have a lot of awesome stuff. Overall, there are a few vendors dotted around. I tend to speak to every single vendor on the back end of Booty Bay. All of these guys do tend to sell random different recipes, especially the blacksmith guy and the leatherworking guy. He drops a couple of things. Now, if you go all the way over to where you would actually board a ship in order to get over to Ratchet, there is a vendor over there who actually sells the stylish black swashbucklers shirt, and that recipe is a one limit only thing, and it only really ever comes up at a very low chance. So if it actually is up when you're actually there, make sure to double check that when you're resupplying, because that's a nice additional amount of gold coming forward. Now, aside from that, when you're actually buying it from that guy, he actually sells the parrots. That is the parrot seller who actually sells that shirt, just so you know. And you can also buy those parrots and then sell those on the auction house, as they do tend to sell as well. Basically, you're selling them for a premium for going out there and actually doing that. This one's a very easy one in order to do, because if you're an Alliance character and you're in Stormwind, it's literally a straight flight path and then just gather up all the stuff and then just go back. Bay has a auction house if you don't have your Brutosaur, so you can then just immediately post them if you really wanted to. Overall, doing quite well. So let's move into number 5, which is the Argent shirt. Now, the Argent Tournament was obviously in Wattalk, and pretty much all you're going to be wanting to do is just by going over to the vendor located in the Argent Tournament. This vendor actually just sells a load of your faction specific shirts, and then you can just buy those for like a few gold each, and then just sell those on the auction house for a couple of 100 gold each. This is really easy. I tend to find this one works really well, and I usually will buy them for a few gold and then sell them on for like a few 100 gold, and it works out rather well. So all in all, this method is very easy in order to do, because if you're in Dalaran Northrend, it's just a straight flight path again. It's really that simple. The majority of the time you're going to be doing, actually farming all of these things up, is by just being on a flight path and being AFK while you're actually going over to that flight path. So it takes little to no effort, and it pulls you in a decent amount of gold for the time that you've invested for all of this stuff. So I'd make it like a monthly routine to just resupply all of your vendor gold stuff. Now aside from all of that, guys, that is the 5 best vendor gold farms that you can do right now. Have an awesome rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow.